Allow recording. Okay, welcome back to our penultimate session of the academic year. We are dealing with tips for growth, reaching potential, and is soon going to turn into developing Midas. So let me share a screen if I can. Can everyone see this? All good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is this good sharing or bad sharing?
No, this
Meaning,
is
Good sharing.
okay, very good. And you can see yourselves, you can see me.
Yeah, well, that's the bad sharing bit.
yeah. So
Okay, so let us recap. The first week we on this topic we meandered a bit, as only Jews can, and we talked about what the greatest inhibiting factors were with regards to growth. Then we meandered a little bit more, and we focused on one particular thing, which was knowing that you're good inside. That was really important. And knowing that you have the capability to grow, because if you remember the Chabad versus Coca-Cola, it's part of us, no, it's not part of us. You're trying to instill it from the outside, no, it's part of my inside conversation that we had and that we developed a little bit last week by talking about our essence is good. We talked about a couple of Rambams. We have the potential to be like Moshe Rabbeinu, not in terms of prophetic level, but in terms of righteousness. And then we finished last week with a very cryptic Chovas Halevavos talking about mankind being a little world. Yeah, it's a small world after all. I mean, hello, Robert. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. So I miss you because I'm on sharing screen. I can no longer see who's walked through the proverbial Zoom door.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's okay. It's wonderful to have you. That's 2-2 Edgware versus Hendon now.
I'm Boreham Wood.
I'm Boreham Wood.
Mm-hmm.
What's Boreham Wood?
We're
Sir
Boreham
Henry.
Oh, yeah, but I'm counting them as one screen as opposed to two. Oh, you're right. You're right. That's
Thank you.
the ever. You're right. The ever-present statistical debate as opposed to in Zoom. Right. Anyway, we move on. So. Okay, so yeah, last week we saw this very interesting Chovas Halevavos, which talked about mankind or humans being a mini world, kind of an olam katan, which is a nice way of saying it, microcosm of the world, which in rabbinic speak is a way of assigning importance. There are actually a few other things that are called mini worlds. Anyone want to guess? What's called a mini world? What would there be? I'll give you a clue. It's in the Torah that's called a mini world. It's not in the Psukim called a mini world, but by the commentaries it certainly is. So the Mishkan is also called a mini world. Right? In other words, it reflects and expresses the secrets of the world, and it contains, if you like, on some level, the various spiritual powers crunched into the Mishkan that you'll find in the world. So whenever we talk about something that either completes the world or expresses the world, the phrase mini world is used, right? And therefore things reflect each other. If you want to be very technical, the Ibn Ezra says that mankind, the Torah, and the world all reflect each other, all created in some form of, they're all like mirror images of each other in terms of what they contain deep down. So we had over here, mankind is a mini world in Olam Katan, Asher Bo Gemar Seder Olam Hazeh, that it contains within it the completion of the order of this world, and its beauty and perfection are so. Now, as mankind was created on the last day of creation, and therefore they are both the focal point and the element of perfection, that is brought into the world. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was our last thing that we did last time. I want to move on, if I can, to a separate point this time, which is as follows. Not only are we good deep down, but we're invested with an innate knowledge of good and evil. Now, this is really important for the following topic, but I don't want to fully get into it, if you don't mind, but I do want to show you that this is one of the prevailing points about this topic. I actually heard this from Rabbi David Roberts. If you know anything about Rabbi David Roberts, he's a very, very clever man. Or as one of my family would say, he's not stupid. So as follows. Amazing person. I think he's doing amazing things in Berlin as well. Okay, so it's like this. The question is, where does morality stand? I know that's a bit of a hard question to ask just on kind of one sentence. Is there morality if you like, so to speak, outside of Torah obligation. In other words, do we say that on the one hand, no, the Torah is the guide to morality, and anything outside of that is fair game? Right? Or do we say no? Mankind is supposed to have a sense of morality even before the Torah, so to speak, and the Torah then adds, directs, shaves off, etc. But there's a universal morality which even existed somehow before Torah, right?
Yeah.
Where it comes to major topical discussion fruition are things like the Akedah, right? When you've got Hashem saying, "Go shecht Avraham," is there any sense of Avraham supposed to be saying, "Well, hold on a second, I don't think this is right," or no, it's not that there's a battle between morality and what Hashem says. It's that what Hashem says is morality. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's a tremendous topic, and there's a lot to talk about. The Torah itself talks about going beyond the letter of the law in certain circumstances, etc. But one of the points that Rabbi Roberts talked about, which is a very, very deep point, is like this. The problem is, if you're going to say that morality exists pre-Torah, then it almost sounds like you've got the Torah and morality, and never did the twain meet, which would be ridiculous. Of course, Torah is the moral code, right? Of course it is, right? So where is that debate lodged, so to speak? So he said like this. He said that mankind has an innate moral compass, such that even if the Torah would never have told us to kill, it would still have been bad. That's a good example.
Not to kill.
Pardon?
The Torah tells us not to kill.
The Torah tells us not to kill, exactly. And anyone who heard me saying the Torah tells us to kill should really get their ears checked, I feel. Thank you. No, you're right. The Torah, thank you. It's Hendon. It just cut out for a second there. Thank you. The Torah tells us not to kill. Thank you. It's actually bad. We have to edit that. Torah tells us not to kill. Even had the Torah told us not to kill, we would have understood it to be a bad act to kill. Right? The Gemara, for example, says, had the Torah not been given, we would have learnt certain things from the animal kingdom. You know what I mean? We would have learnt, I can't remember what the examples of the Gemara gives, but we learned teamwork from the ants and this from the these and whatever it was. We would have learned things. Now,
lots of animals do live together in groups, and the parents look after the children and so on. And they teach their animals how to survive.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Are we talking about when we say before Torah? Are we talking about even before, like, the Noahide commandments and things like that?
Anything. Before there were any instruction between God and man. Is there any sense of morality before Torah comes along? That's the question. Chronologically and thematically, that's the question.
You still have to choose.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
You still have to choose what morality comes from what animal. You might get group dynamics with ants, but we also know that monkeys eat other monkeys. So is cannibalism innate? They're all different animals have different morality.
Yeah, that's part of the question. That's part of the point. In other words, not only would we have known not only would we learn to animal kingdom to learn certain things, we would have had some innate compass to realize which animals we should emulate and which we shouldn't. Right? I've got to revise my Gibraltar story at this point. You probably all heard it, but I don't care because it's such a cracking story. I'm going to do it again. Okay, Gideon, remember this?
No, we haven't started it yet.
There's only one Gibraltar story I have. It goes as follows. I was in Gibraltar with my daughter a couple of years ago, and there was a bloke called Brian who was leading us around the rock, telling us about all the monkeys. And he told me the following. He said, Daniel, remember this now? He says, Daniel, you would never guess what happens here. It's absolutely absurd. When the monkeys get into a group and they feel that group is too big, that community is too big, one or two of them go off and they found a new community. Isn't that crazy? That's what he told me.
Just shows monkeys are Jewish.
I'm thinking of like the various shuls that I know that would fit into their category. Anyway, we continue. So the point is that this is Rabbi Roberts' point. There is a certain sense of innate morality that we have, but it's not random. It's because Hashem invested that within us. Right? Otherwise, it sounds funny. Take a newcomer to Judaism, right? And they're learning their first bit of Gemara for like the first time, right? Right? What right do they have to argue about anything? Do you know what I mean? They've never learned anything. They don't know what Judaism has to say on the topic. So how can they argue that he means this? He should mean this. He should mean that. They don't know. The answer is there's a certain straight thinkingness and certain, if you like, straight morality that Hashem put within our natural kind of fibers and compass. Okay, so Revolver puts it like this: it's another way of saying that Hashem made us as good people. Yeah, he says like this. He says a person can achieve understanding on his own. He calls that das. Das means internal innate knowledge. The highest level of this das is Ruach HaKodesh. Kodesh meaning that's a level below prophecy. That's when you wake up in the morning and you think, I really should make a coffee for so-and-so. And lo and behold, he or she wanted a coffee. Ruach HaKodesh. This is what Chazal refer to when they say, how did Abraham know Torah? He learned it on his own. Right? In other words, Abraham had an innate sense of what should and shouldn't be. Now, it was a heightened innate sense, no question about it. Yeah, heightened innate sense. But it was an innate sense. No one told him. He just understood it. Yeah? It's amazing things. He says that the wellspring of wisdom that man finds within himself, is there any greater divine gift than that? So I want to try and just show you how far we've come. Not only is mankind innately good, right? Not only is mankind a world unto themselves, right? I don't mean you're in your own world. That might be true as well, right? What I mean is that we contain all the perfection, all the spiritual secrets that would complete the world. But we've been invested with an innate sense of right and wrong, right? As part of who we are. It's not an abstract you're good. It's that we've been given a moral compass. Okay?
So is this a bit of a cheat? You're basically saying, can you have morality without the Torah? And your answer is, yes, you can, because Hashem, who created us, gave us morality.
Yes, 100%. 100%. That's if you like, to an extent, the only way out the bind. Because if you're going to say morality is without God, that's ridiculous. But if you're going to say,
when you have kind of humanism and things like that, which don't attribute anything to any God, what are we saying there? That they, when they come up with "don't kill," we say you don't attribute it to God, but we're telling you it's because God created us with this innate sense.
Yeah. I'm the rabbi of Sinai School, so you better listen to me. No, so and they ask me questions every now and again. It's funny. Schools are amazing places, but they operate under kind of certain rules. So I had their PTA complaining to me in a nice way, and she's unbelievable, that they had a really tight schedule because they had to get their fun day done before the 3 weeks started. Right? I'm thinking to myself, that's good because our fun day is in 10 days' time. Meaning Seeds one is in 3 weeks because we feel we can. Anyway, be that as it may, right? So one of the things they asked me is about teaching different religions, meaning that whatever, they have to teach different religions under RS, and they asked me about humanism. Rabbi, what do you think of humanism? Right? So I could have done one of two things. I could have pretended to know, or I could have said, please show me what you're talking about. So I opted for the latter. I felt I was responsible. So they showed me the brief syllabus, kind of humanism, the kind of brief points that they would teach. And one of the things that says is, what is humanism's, like, what are their basic principles? So number one is that there's no code of conduct. There's no official, there's no God, etc. There's none of that. There's no revelation. There's no official guidebook. Then it says next one, what are their mantras? So, this is going to be interesting. They got no guidebook. What are their mantras? Right, so the first one that came up in this official textbook was that which is hateful to you, don't do to others. Right? I said, I don't understand. You've literally lifted that from Gemara Shabbos. Right? Literally, you haven't taken the verse, which is V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You've literally lifted from the Aramaic, translated to English, and made it your own mantra. I was like, shkoyach. I mean, I don't know what humanism was. I bet a Jew made it.
To be fair, that's the golden rule of pretty much every religion, isn't it?
It's yes, or any human social construct, but don't take the words of the Gemara. Okay. You know what I mean? At least be subtle. You know what I mean? It's just so funny. It was literally a carbon copy of each word. I asked them, I said, do you have the original Aramaic of their mantra? Anyway, so that is that's it's a beauty. Again, don't I wouldn't underestimate the power of this revolver and this point in general. We're invested with an innate sense of good and bad. It's really, really important. It really, really is. Okay, that is number one in terms of the menu today. What I would like to continue doing, we're going to have time for a bit of it, are just different phrases that epitomize a certain growth mentality in different sources. We'll do this today, and please God, we'll finish this in Tashem next week. So these are independent things. They don't form a sequence. There's no thought pattern. There's no leading from one to another. The commonality or the common thread is that each one provides a certain deep insight, often through Chazal, and as the rabbi's eyes into A, what makes us tick, and B, what makes us get there, so to speak. Okay, so the first is the Rambam. It's quite famous. It's not his, he doesn't own this, but he says it quite succinctly, and it's something that we learnt once when it came to the mitzvah of tzedakah, and it goes as follows. Like this: Shahamalos lo yagiu la'adam lefi rov godel ha'maisa. That levels do not are not attained by mankind according to the number of times you do something. Aval lefi rov mispar ha'maisa. Right? It's according to the consistency. You know what? Let me put it better. It's not about the greatness of the action. It's about the consistency of the action. Right now, he is partly talking about tzedakah, if you remember, once upon a time. Remember our old question about giving 1,000 coins to one person versus 1 coin to 1,000 different people, right? So that is the case he's using it to demonstrate. But the point is that often you can get up for the big occasion. Right? You can be the kind of person who, your cup final, whatever that is, right? Where you can get up for it, you can push yourself, and the Yom Kippur of whatever world you're in, right? But to do it on a, I don't know, late wet winter Mariv in Stoke or wherever, right? To do it when not a lot of people are watching, to do it when things are down, when things are difficult, when things, when it's not so simple, that's a totally different story. Totally different story. That shows consistency. Right? No one's watching, no one's caring, it's just the little action each day, the drip in Rebbe Akiva's world that broke through the rock. That is one core element of growth. And it's true, some people are born with more of an innate sense of consistency than others. I know of a certain rabbi, a good friend of mine, who was overjoyed this year that he managed to complete the Omer. He's not the kind of person who remembers each day normally. That's just the type of person he is, right? That's some people are they're like clockwork. They remember things, they're consistent, everything's on time, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I get that, but nevertheless, you can only build on consistency. You know what I mean? Like the old Rome wasn't built in a day, because if it was, it would collapse in a day as well. Right? Things have to take time and things have to be consistent, otherwise they collapse, and you just easy come, easy go. Where's an example of that in the Torah? By the way, it has to take time, easy come, easy go. So when the Jews left Egypt, some of them were quite impatient. They want to get to Israel already, and low-cost airlines didn't yet exist, so they wanted to go through the land of the Plishtim. And Hashem says, no, forget it. You're going to see things there. You're going to go the shortcut, and they're going to run back to Egypt. Yeah, so we're going to take you the long way, relatively speaking. Okay, it wasn't supposed to take 40 years at that point. It's going to take you the long way, and therefore you're not going to run back to Egypt. Otherwise, you're going to have to invest in the journey. It's going to take a little bit of time, a bit more development. That's number one. The other way of saying this, it's a halachic one, but it's a nice one, which is as follows. Okay, quiz, people. Anyone here a Cohen or a Levi? Anyone?
No.
All right. Okay, fine. Anyone know anyone? No. The following.
What? Including both my sons. So there we are.
Pardon?
Including both my sons. So there we are.
Are they Kohanim or Leviim?
Kohanim.
Kohanim, very nice. Okay. So what is the law in the following scenario? If a Kohen behaves badly, meaning if a Kohen marries someone he shouldn't,
he loses his Kohanic status.
Oh, so the kids, let's leave him for a second, but the kids certainly will. right? He will, to extent purposes, he will, but whatever, with the kids, it's easier. Okay, so they will lose their chonic status. Now, what about a Levi behaving badly? Right? What happens with a Levi? So the answer is nothing. Nothing. Yeah. So the Meshech Chocham makes this point. He says, I don't understand. Why is that? A Kohen behaving badly, the kid doesn't even become a Levi, just drops down totally. Right? But Levi behaving badly, that's all right. You know, it's like saying if you're stripped of the gold medal, you go down to, I don't know, bronze. But the silver medal person can't be stripped of anything.
Yep.
How does that work? Right? He says something brilliant. He says, because a Kohen has high voltage in terms of Kedusha and sanctity, once you meddle with that, it's quite volatile and you lose it completely if it blows up.
Well.
Right? But a Levi has a much more consistent level of Kedusha to begin with. It's much lower and de facto, therefore, more consistent. It's a normal power plant, not a nuclear power plant, and therefore explosions are less deadly. Yeah? And therefore, when a Kohen behaves badly, finish, game over. When a Levi behaves badly, he retains his Levi status because it was more stable to begin with. Isn't that good? Right. So it's a similar point.
Israelites also, obviously, because that's even lower level of base.
Yes, yeah. But Israel will always be Israel. Again, there's certain things that are beyond the scope, mamzeros, etc. But that's a separate issue. But 100%. Now, what is the connection here? Well, very simple. Consistency and retaining one's level is really important. Right? They go hand in hand. So not only are you good and created to be good and you're a mini world, not only is it so that you're invested with an innate sense of morality, such that you should have a moral compass and some form of vision and aims and ambitions to get you there to wherever that innate like moral compass points you in terms of trajectory and direction. But you have to do so consistently.
But why are you suggesting that the Kohanim are not consistent in their
They can be. They can be. I'm just connecting in terms of us. They can be consistent. They should be consistent. But just to retain that level of Kedusha is much harder. There's much less leeway for mistakes. There's more laws, etc.
I'm still not sure what that's got to do with consistency.
Two separate points. Sorry, I'm borrowing 1 point. Thank you. I'm borrowing 1 point from the Kohanim, showing that hitting at a high level can be a bit volatile, whereas staying at a more stable level lasts longer. I'm borrowing that point from that idea and plugging it here. That is why consistency lives out long term. Because
but then that's not growth if you're staying at the same level. Surely the goal is to do a bit more of something and then build that into consistency. So it becomes a habit, so then you do more.
Yeah, slow inclines. You're right. Inclines, but on a steady pace. You're right. Not exactly the same level, to that point. Okay, right. It is the hallowed time of 8:31. And thus, I'm waving goodbye. Please God, we're going to continue next week. Like I said, it's going to be our last shift.